Some venomous insects do far more than cause a painful sting. They inject toxins that shut down nerves within minutes. Others destroy tissue so badly that the skin begins to die. Some trigger violent allergic reactions that collapse breathing and blood pressure at the same time. Now prepare yourself to see what happens after encounters with 17 of the most dangerous venomous insects on Earth. Number 1. Puss caterpillar. Puss caterpillar looks soft and completely harmless. It looks like something a child would want to pick up and hold in their hands. And that is exactly the problem. This tiny furry creature is the most venomous caterpillar on the planet. It is found across the southern parts of the United States, clinging to oak and elm trees, waiting for an unlucky person to brush against it. Its fluffy coat is not fur. Underneath it are hollow spines loaded with venom, and the moment they pierce the skin, the poison moves fast. Victims describe it as liquid fire being injected directly into their bones, a burning so deep and so savage, it does not feel like anything the body was built to handle. Within minutes, the sting site turns red and swells. Then the pain refuses to stay in one place. It shoots up the arm or leg, sometimes traveling all the way to the chest. Nausea hits, dizziness follows, breathing gets harder. Some victims said they felt like their bones were being crushed from the inside out, even as the venom was already visibly destroying the skin above them. And it does not stop quickly. This can go on for 12 hours or more. Some people have been hospitalized, completely unable to move. Multiple stings can push the body into anaphylactic shock, and in rare cases, shut down breathing entirely. Even after surviving all of that, deep red marks stay burned into the skin for days. Something that small, that much damage. Number 2. Asian giant hornet. Nearly 2 inches long, with wings that buzz like a small machine and a body built for destruction. This is not an insect anyone wants to encounter. Its venom contains cytotoxins, which are compounds that actively break down muscle and skin cells from the inside. The moment the Asian giant hornet stings, the pain spreads outward like a chemical burn moving in every direction at once. The sting site does not just swell. In some cases, it turns black as the tissue underneath begins to die. And if it stings multiple times, the body starts to lose the fight entirely. The venom overloads organ after organ until they begin to fail. Survivors of repeated stings have walked away with kidney failure and cardiovascular shock. Some never fully recovered. In 2013, a swarm of Asian giant hornets attacked villages in China, killing 41 people and leaving over 1,600 others requiring emergency medical treatment. That is not a statistic. That is a catastrophe caused by insects. This hornet does not wait to be provoked either. It actively hunts, and it has been documented wiping out entire honeybee colonies in just a few hours. Even a single sting leaves a deep, throbbing ache that lingers for days after the wound has closed. Number 3. Death Stalker Scorpion. The name is not an exaggeration. The Death Stalker scorpion is responsible for 75% of all scorpion-related deaths recorded worldwide every single year, not occasionally, every single year. It lives across North Africa and the Middle East, buried perfectly in desert sand, completely invisible until it has already struck. The sting delivers pain, burning, and swelling all at once. Then within minutes, the venom goes after the cardiovascular system. The heart rate surges. Blood pressure swings violently between dangerous extremes. Then fluid begins pouring into the lungs and every breath becomes a desperate struggle. Children are the most vulnerable. Their bodies are smaller, their systems are weaker, and the venom overtakes them faster than treatment can reach them. In rural Tunisia and Algeria, children have died within hours of a single sting simply because anti-venom was not close enough. And somehow, scientists are now studying this venom for cancer research. Certain proteins inside it can locate and penetrate tumor cells. The deadliest scorpion on Earth may one day help save lives. Number 4. Black widow spider. Most people who get bitten by a black widow don't even know it happened. The bite leaves nothing but 2 tiny puncture marks, so small and so painless that most victims brush it off completely. That is the most dangerous part. Because while the victim is going about their day, the venom is already moving through the nervous system. It contains toxins, which are compounds that hijack nerve signals and force the muscles into contractions the body cannot control and cannot stop. It starts as a dull ache at the bite site. Then the cramping begins, spreading to the chest and abdomen, locking everything so tight that breathing becomes difficult. Some victims describe it as being crushed from the inside. Others say it feels like the worst muscle cramps of their lives, hitting every part of the body at the same time without pause. Then sweating sets in, then dizziness, then nausea. In the worst cases, blood pressure spikes to dangerous levels, the heartbeat turns irregular, and paralysis begins setting in. This can go on for days. Deaths are rare, but they have happened, particularly among the elderly and those with weakened immune systems. Number 5. Saddleback caterpillar. Most people who encounter the saddleback caterpillar make the same mistake. They see the vivid green marking. They think it is harmless, and they get too close. What happens next is something they do not forget. The body of this caterpillar is lined with venomous spines. The moment skin makes contact, those spines break off and embed themselves directly into the flesh. And they do not stop there. They keep releasing venom from inside the wound long after the contact has ended, which means the attack continues even after the caterpillar is gone. The pain arrives instantly and spreads fast. The area swells and turns red within minutes. In severe cases, the reaction does not stay in one spot. A rash moves across the entire limb as the venom keeps working from the spines still buried inside the skin. The nervous system takes the worst of it. Numbness and tingling set in, and in serious reactions, temporary paralysis takes over the affected area. In 2006, a schoolgirl in Florida was hospitalized after brushing against one during a field trip. The nerve damage in her arm took weeks to fully resolve. Medical professionals are firm about one thing: never rub the contact area. Rubbing drives the spines deeper into the tissue and makes everything that follows significantly worse. Number 6. Brown recluse spider. The brown recluse spider does not look like a threat. It is small, it is quiet, and it minds its own business. But when it bites, what follows is one of the most disturbing things a human body can go through. The bite itself feels like almost nothing. A small red bump, easy to ignore, easy to dismiss. And that is where the real danger begins, because beneath that tiny mark, a necrotic venom is already dissolving the flesh from the inside. Within hours, the skin at the bite site begins to die. It darkens, it sinks, it breaks apart. What started as a pinprick grows into a deep open wound, sometimes expanding to several inches wide as the destruction continues spreading outward. Left untreated, the wound becomes a sunken, blackened crater where healthy skin used to be. In 2014, a young boy in Tennessee lost a significant portion of his leg tissue to a single bite that nobody noticed for days. By the time anyone looked, the damage was already done. In extreme cases, the venom enters the bloodstream, causing fever, chills, and organ damage far beyond the original wound. Some victims heal with mild scarring. Others carry permanent disfigurement that no surgery can fully fix. Number 7. Kissing bug. This insect waits. It is patient. It does not strike during the day. It waits until a person is completely asleep, and then it moves to the face, biting around the mouth and eyes while the victim lies there completely unaware. The bite is painless by design. Evolution built it that way so the person stays asleep, and the feeding continues without any interruption. But what this bug leaves behind is far worse than any pain could ever be. Hidden inside that silent bite is a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi. It enters the bloodstream immediately and begins multiplying. The early symptoms are so mild that most people never connect them to a bug bite at all. A slight fever, a little fatigue, a small swelling near the bite that disappears on its own. Everything seems fine, but nothing is fine. While the body goes about normal life, the parasite is burrowing into the heart muscle and weakening it quietly, year by year, with absolutely no warning signs. Then a decade later, sometimes 2 decades later, the heart begins to fail. The rhythm collapses. The muscle gives out. And the person has no idea why, because they never even knew they were bitten. This is Chagas disease. It kills approximately 10,000 people every single year worldwide. There is no vaccine. And by the time most people receive a diagnosis, the damage to the heart is already beyond what any treatment can fully repair. Number 8. Bullet ant. Scientists created a scale specifically to measure the pain of insect stings. It is called the Schmidt Pain Index. The bullet ant sits at the very top. Nothing else on that scale comes close. Found deep in the Amazon rainforest, this ant delivers a sting so powerful it has been compared to being shot by a bullet. That is not dramatic language. That is where the name comes from. The moment the stinger breaks skin, venom floods the nerves instantly. There is no buildup, no warning. Just an explosion of deep, throbbing agony that starts immediately and keeps building in intensity with every second that passes. The pain radiates through the entire limb. Movement becomes nearly impossible. Victims describe it as waves of electric shocks pulsing through muscle and bone as if the tissue is being torn apart from the inside. What makes the bullet ant truly terrifying is that this pain does not fade. It locks the body in that state for 12 to 24 full hours. People have been found completely incapacitated, unable to walk, unable to sleep, unable to perform the most basic functions. In 2018, a researcher in Brazil was stung accidentally during fieldwork. He lost complete control of the affected arm for hours, vomited repeatedly from the pain, and could not stand without assistance for nearly a full day, from a single ant sting. Amazonian tribes use bullet ants in initiation rituals, forcing young warriors to wear gloves packed with live ants and endure hundreds of stings simultaneously. Those warriors describe it as the closest experience to dying while still being alive. Number 9. Warrior wasp. Most stings peak and fade. The warrior wasp does not work that way. What it delivers is not a moment of pain. It is sustained, consuming torture that holds the body hostage with no relief and no end in sight. Justin Schmidt was an entomologist who built the insect pain index by allowing himself to be stung by hundreds of different species. His description of the warrior wasp sting was precise. It feels like being chained in place and held over an open flame, continuously. Victims have reported being completely unable to speak for several minutes after a single sting. The pain so thoroughly overrides the nervous system that forming words becomes physically impossible. Number 10. Executioner wasp. It is called the executioner wasp for a reason. This is not a name given lightly. It is a name earned through the kind of pain that makes grown adults collapse, lose the ability to think, and beg for it to stop. The sting is sharp, searing, and relentless from the very first second. The venom goes straight for the nerve endings and sends waves of raw, burning fire through the affected area immediately. It is all at once, and it is overwhelming. Swelling erupts almost instantly. Within moments of contact, the affected area is visibly changing. But what separates the executioner wasp from almost every other stinging insect on this list is what the venom does beyond the pain. It causes actual tissue damage. This is not just a painful experience that fades and leaves no trace. This is a wound that the body has to physically repair over the course of several days. Victims report being unable to speak and unable to think clearly after a single sting. Every cognitive function gets overridden by what the venom is doing to the nervous system. The brain cannot focus on anything else because the body will not allow it. Number 11. Sydney funnelweb spider. Before 1981, a bite from the Sydney funnelweb spider was considered a potential death sentence in Australia. That was not an exaggeration. That was simply the reality people lived with. Then antivenom was developed and everything changed. But the spider did not. This spider does not retreat when threatened. It rears up, exposes its fangs, and attacks repeatedly. Those fangs are strong enough to pierce straight through a human fingernail. And what they deliver into the body is one of the most aggressive venoms any spider produces anywhere on Earth. The venom contains compounds called toxins that throw the entire nervous system into violent overdrive all at once. Every nerve in the body begins firing simultaneously. Muscles convulse without control. The heart races toward dangerous thresholds. Glands flood the body with secretions it cannot regulate. Sweating pours out uncontrollably. Saliva floods the mouth. Nausea and convulsions hit as the body essentially tears itself apart trying to respond to signals that make no sense. Without immediate intervention, brain damage can follow. Not because the venom attacks the brain directly, but because the collapsing systems cut off oxygen supply and the brain begins to suffer from the deprivation. In 1980, 1 year before antivenom existed, a 2-year-old child was bitten and died within 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That number should stop everyone cold. Even today, with antivenom available, patients require intensive monitoring for hours after treatment because the venom's effects can resurge long after the initial dose appears to have worked. And here is the detail that should concern everyone most. The male Sydney funnel-web spider is far more venomous than the female. And during mating season, males wander directly into homes, shoes, and gardens, actively moving through the spaces where people live every single day. Number 12. Brazilian wandering spider. Most spiders build webs and wait. The Brazilian wandering spider does not wait for anything. It hunts actively, moving fast across jungle floors and striking with speed and precision. And it has been found hidden inside banana shipments, turning up in kitchens and grocery stores in countries far from any rainforest. The bite triggers immediate, intense throbbing. Then the venom begins a systematic assault on the nervous system. Uncontrollable muscle spasms fire through the body. Burning pain radiates outward from the bite. Paralysis begins creeping in all within minutes. In men, the venom causes priapism, which is a prolonged and extremely painful condition that has been studied as a basis for treating erectile dysfunction. That detail alone should tell you how aggressively this venom interferes with the body's normal functions. As the neurotoxins spread further, breathing becomes disrupted, heart rate surges, and vital organs begin losing function one by one. The elderly face the greatest risk because their systems are least equipped to fight back. Antivenom exists. Number 13. Japanese giant hornet. The Asian giant hornet gets most of the attention, but its close relative, the Japanese giant hornet, may carry the deadlier record when it comes to documented human casualties. Its venom contains an enzyme called phospholipase that actively dissolves the walls of blood cells, breaking down the body's own infrastructure from the inside. The sting delivers immediate searing pain, but the pain is not even the most dangerous part. The moment the venom enters the body, it releases a chemical signal that calls other hornets directly to the location. Being stung once is not just an attack, it is a marker that invites the entire swarm. Number 14. Tsetse fly. It looks like any ordinary fly. It blends into the humid landscape of sub-Saharan Africa without drawing any attention at all. But this fly does something that no amount of pain could ever compare to. It does not just bite, it changes the body permanently from the inside. When the tsetse fly bites, it deposits microscopic parasites called trypanosomes directly into the bloodstream. The first symptoms feel completely harmless: fever, headaches, joint pain. The kind of things anyone would dismiss as a passing illness and move on from. But the parasites are not passing. They push deeper into the body, breach the central nervous system, and begin dismantling it piece by piece. Sleep becomes a nightmare of its own. The infected person cannot stay awake during the day but cannot sleep at night. Then confusion sets in, then hallucinations. Then a slow, terrifying loss of control over movement itself. In the final stage, the victim falls into a deep coma as the brain becomes completely overwhelmed and the body shuts down organ by organ. Without treatment, death is almost certain, and treatment only works if it arrives before the final stage. There is no vaccine. For millions of people living in affected regions, the only protection is to never get bitten by something they may not even see. Number 15. Africanized bees. A regular honeybee stings once and dies. That is its limit. Africanized bees have no such limit, and they use that fact without any restraint whatsoever. These bees do not wait to be provoked. Any disturbance near the colony, any vibration, any movement that feels like a threat triggers a coordinated full-scale assault within seconds, and they chase. They have been documented pursuing targets for hundreds of feet, relentless and completely organized with no intention of breaking off the attack. What makes them so deadly is not the strength of their venom. Their venom is no more potent than that of a regular honeybee. The terror is entirely in the volume. Hundreds of stings, sometimes thousands, each one depositing venom into the body until the system simply cannot process what is entering it anymore. Even people without any allergies have suffered severe tissue damage, internal swelling, and complete organ failure from mass attacks. Victims have been found with over 1,000 stings, their bodies swollen beyond recognition from the sheer volume of venom injected. Running into water does not help. These bees hover above the surface and wait patiently for the victim to come back up. Multiple deaths have been documented across the southern United States. Ordinary people, caught completely off guard. These bees do not defend their hive, they go to war. Number 16. Giant desert centipede. The giant desert centipede moves with alarming speed. Its long, armored body races across the ground while dozens of legs grip the surface in perfect coordination. At the front of its body are two sharp limbs called forcipules. These limbs drive into the skin and inject venom directly into the tissue. The moment the skin is pierced, a deep burning pain erupts at the bite site. Within minutes, the area begins swelling rapidly. The surrounding muscles tighten and start to spasm as the venom spreads through the tissue. The pain rarely stays in one place. It begins traveling up the entire limb as an intense, throbbing sensation. Victims often feel the pain building as it moves through the nerves. Soon, the rest of the body reacts. Nausea begins. Dizziness follows. Some victims experience weakness in the affected limb as the venom interferes with normal nerve signals. This centipede does not release immediately. It clamps down and holds on while its legs grip the skin, allowing more venom to enter the body. Pain can last for days, and severe reactions have required hospitalization. Number 17. Harvester ant. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A small reddish ant rushing across the ground, easy to ignore and even easier to underestimate. But this insect carries one of the most potent venoms ever recorded in the insect world. Drop for drop, its venom is more toxic than cobra venom. And when a harvester ant attacks, it does not sting once and retreat. It locks onto the skin with its jaws and drives its stinger in again and again, injecting more venom with every strike. The pain is immediate and brutal. A deep burning sensation erupts at the sting site and spreads outward through the surrounding nerves. Victims often describe the feeling as if the sting is still happening long after the ant has been brushed away. The venom floods the nervous system with pain signals that can dominate the body for hours. In 2018, a man in Texas disturbed a harvester ant colony while gardening. Within seconds, the ground came alive. Ants swarmed his legs, climbing rapidly and stinging over and over. The sheer volume of venom pushed his body into a dangerous systemic reaction, forcing emergency hospitalization.